Ladies and gentlemen, K Kim here. Welcome to the daily update. I hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is up slightly, about 0.3%, 0.37% there on the S&P. We got a little more on the Russell 2000 and the financial sector. We got a little less on the Nasdaq today, and then a little less on the Dow. But looks like we're continuing to grind higher. Let's try to figure out what we can expect going into tomorrow. So this was Friday towards the close, last hour of Friday. So this is the first hour there, second hour, third, fourth, fifth, sixth there. So we slightly gapped down. Obviously that wasn't enough of a gap down there at that point. So you can see it looked like some of these wicks here, looking at the micro term, that acted as support this morning's dip, because that lower wick tells us that we gapped down here around 303.62, pulled back, gone to about 303.10, and then met with that prior resistance there, and then we got up, and then that first hour we saw a move to the upside, and then the second hour we pulled back a little bit, third hour we continued, fourth hour we continued, and then a fifth hour, sixth hour we kind of pulled back a little bit. It's interesting that we didn't come all the way back up to that the resistance level. We kind of like didn't quite get there. We just kind of like ran out of steam. Bulls ran out of steam like before we're getting into that kind of a more prominent resistance at 306, because anybody can see that that was that prior swing high in late May here, just a couple sessions ago, right? So we didn't quite get there though. We started pulling back. It's just hard to tell as far as looking at the candles here. It's hard to tell, is this a bull pennant pattern before moving higher, or is it some kind of a evening star reversal, right? We got that green candle, dragonfly doji, and then a red spinning top there, so that could possibly be a evening star reversal if we do see a follow-through next day. And for that to happen, you would want to see, the bears would want to see about 305, 305.25, 305, 305.20 getting taken out to the downside, and following, you want to see a follow-through to confirm this evening star reversal there. If not, if we do see a first hour run up tomorrow morning, then it could turn into some kind of a bull pennant pattern. So right now we're kind of like, we made a little bit of move and we're kind of indecisive. We haven't really gone all the way back to the resistance level 306 yet, and we're kind of hanging around just underneath it. So it's kind of like it doesn't know what it wants to do. Almost like the market doesn't really know. I mean, we're seeing some bullish momentum here in the micro term, obviously, but it seems like just looking at the last 3 hours of price action, it kind of doesn't know what it wants to do, and we just kind of stop short-hander in the middle. So let's kind of zoom out a little bit and let's understand the sentiment here. So looking at the longer term here, just a little bit longer term here. So that short-term moving average is still rising higher here ever since the middle of May. And that short-term moving average been acting as strong support here all throughout here. So if we do see a pullback and maybe confirm this evening star formation to the downside, then definitely 303 is going to be the next level of support that you want to watch. And keep in mind, even just first hour of this morning, that's where we find support. That was 303. And then that's where we're hanging out at that short-term moving average. So I'm going to give you the micro term, kind of a shorter term, micro term support level at 303. At 303 there. So you guys see that wick, upper wick there, upper wick there, and then the lower wick, and then the short-term moving average. So there's a chance we might come down, retest that, potentially before going higher. Because to me, it's kind of fishy to me right now that it didn't quite, like bulls quite didn't push all the way here. We kind of stopped short. And we've been kind of seeing something like that happening. Even I talked about this on last Friday. I thought it was kind of weird that bears didn't bring all the way back down to this support, but it kind of stopped short in the middle of it and then brought it up. So that's kind of what's happening here. It didn't go all the way back up to the resistance, maybe stop short, maybe because they want to kind of, you know, pull back a little bit and then retest some of those support level there. And then obviously for buyers, let's put that there. We can put that resistance right there, 306. We're just kind of in that near that area. So I think, you know, if we do see a pop tomorrow, 306.50 is going to act as support. Sometimes though, when you see a price and light action like this, and because there has been a bullish momentum in the last several days, actually last week or so, maybe a couple of weeks, we've been seeing this bullish momentum. There is support or resistance at 306.50. Many times, sometimes buyers, you know, many times when we see a bullish momentum and then we start to grind a little bit. So if bulls gap it up tomorrow, because it may not want to deal with this resistance area. So there's a good chance that maybe, you know, if we see a gap up tomorrow, I think there's a good chance that this thing is getting ready to see a kind of a further move to the upside. We got this gap area here, and that's from 308, 313, and that's coming from all the way here. Remember, we've been talking about the gaps, and bulls been filling all these gaps here. So we got another gap that left open. This is a down gap from March 5th. And so if we do see a gap up tomorrow, I think buyers going to be rushing in to fill this gap here. You know, it might not be tomorrow, but this week. You know, and that's a pretty decent sized gap up. And these big gap ups been usually, you know, you said that there was a big gap up here too. You can see that there was this gap, and you know, you can see there's a kind of a gap up here, kind of filled that gap, got back up, filled it. And so there potentially could be a gap up because we have this bullish momentum that has been built in the last couple weeks. There's a good chance of that. And that will be the best case scenario for the buyers to have a big gap up here, because it's been kind of fizzling higher. Like it has, we really haven't seen strength to the upside. It's been just really grinding higher, and market could continue to do that. But just given the fact that how it closed, I think if we don't see a gap up, we don't see a like fast up move right away, you know, there could be a good chance this thing coming back down, maybe retesting that 303 level tomorrow, right? Let's look at the oscillator, and then I'll let you guys go with that. So yesterday, or not yesterday, but on Friday, we talked about oscillators not forming higher lows. You see that, right? Well, it's not, you don't see that happening a lot, especially, you know, when you look at this thing since the March lows. We've never seen that happening. You can see how it's been actually oscillating back and forth. When we do see oscillators kind of, you know, fizzling up and down, it's been lower highs and lower lows. You can see those are lower highs, right? We really didn't see this kind of move yet, right? Like this is a 3 touches there. 1, 2, 3. These are what I like to call oscillator high lows. So what it means is when you see the oscillator forming a higher lows here like this, it's telling us that buyers, the market bulls, they are preparing for a big run, a faster run, because we've been pretty much grinding higher for a while now. So this occurs when something changes, right? Something changes in the market, and market bulls are preparing for a big run to get into the next gear. Again, this is looking at 65-minute chart, so it could happen tomorrow or next day. I think because I think we just talked about in this video that there might be a gap up, right? If there is a gap up above 306.50, then you're going to see buyers rushing in to fill that gap at 313. It might happen tomorrow or next day. But if we do see a gap up, then you're going to see this oscillator going all the way back up to, overbought level. And with that pressure and plus the higher lows on the oscillator, we could see a pretty fast move to the upside to 313. This could happen with gap up or even very early first hour strength. Like we need to see a first hour strength and hold that strength and continue on to the second hour tomorrow. Obviously, bears, best bet for the bears is selling it right away, maybe even gapping it down and then trying to come down and retest 303, trying to kill this momentum here. But that's kind of what's going on right now. That's what the oscillator is telling us right now. These higher lows are telling us that market is now preparing to get into a second gear, the next gear, right? And then when the next gear happens, market can advance much faster, right, than before, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing. A lot of bullish momentum here. 313 is that gap area. Bulls are really eyeing on that. Bears gotta kill this momentum as quickly as possible. Maybe bring it down to 303, maybe even 300 to maybe retest that rising pivot. But right now, bulls are winning this race, and bulls have accumulated a lot of strength and momentum, and they have much advantage at this point. So we'll come back tomorrow after their market close and we'll re-examine and see how it all happened or how it all played out tomorrow after the close, right? Then we'll go from there. You guys have a wonderful evening and good luck trading tomorrow.